Good evening and welcome to Gunner Shot. Gunner Shot में आप सबका स्वागत है. Today we're going to see something very interesting. The RICs of the Brics. There are too many RICs in it, you know. RIC, जो हम बात करते रहते हैं, is Russia, India and China. But it's also Russia, Iran and China. Haven't you thought of it? IC is India, China. CR is China, Russia. सबका connection है. Okay, you look at it. Iran, Russia, and China are on a thing. Then Brazil, India has their own equations. Very interesting. And we are, I'm going to analyze this at a time when a lot of interesting things are happening in the world. Otherwise, to conflicts and all that. So then I thought, let's do this. And of course, today, Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping have met based on, in this platform. So we have to understand this platform and India, China and beyond. So I'll make an attempt and I'll take your views at the end of the day. Okay. First and foremost, understand this. Brics, is it multi-angular? Is it multipolar? और मल्टीलेटरल है क्या ये चीज? बहुत एंगल्स हैं इसमें और बहुत इसके अंदर ही पोल्स हैं. And what is this multilateralism which it is trying to attempt? And how does India navigate this minefield? That's what I'll discuss at the end, like yesterday. Okay, so we'll see. And this is this nice photograph which came out with Xi Jinping, Putin, and Modi ji. And this is Geetanjali Rajaram, who gave a comment. Aage kai, piche kuan. That actually caught my imagination, and I thought, let me put it across to all of you. It exemplifies how difficult we're going to have times we're going to have ahead diplomatically. Not only diplomatically, and on many cases. It was one thing to have adversarial relations with China. It is another thing to have neutral relations with China. But it's a third thing to have engagement with China. And that is going to be taxing because earlier we failed it. Our engagement with China, we have been a miserable failure till now. But we're going to do that now. And how does it board? We'll have to see. And we'll tackle that also. Okay. Now, this is some tweet which came out. It says, Brics platform helping bring nations like India and China to the table. And this is something which President Putin is now going all around and said, look, I brought both these people to talk. And he's been a bridge. He's spoken well with China, he's spoken well with India, and he's brought us to the table. Up table ke upar aane ke baad, what task you play is your headache. Okay, I mean, you can't blame Russia for it. So that's the danger. Wahi aage kai piche kuan. I like that. Okay, so then what next? Okay, we'll get to this a little later. But let's see what exactly transpired in this meeting between Mr. Modi and Xi Jinping. It's whatever has been put out in the public domain. I'll play it out, and you have a look and hear the actual thing. It's a small clip I put together. You can have a look.
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी इन दोनों की मुलाकात की तस्वीरें.
The voice will come.
For both sides to keep to the trend of history and the right direction of our bilateral relations. It's important for both sides to have more communication and cooperation, properly handle our differences and disagreements, and to facilitate each other's pursuit of development aspirations. It's also important for both sides to shoulder our international responsibility, set an example for boosting the strength and unity of the developing countries, and to contribute to promoting multipolarization and democracy in international relations.
Excellency, आपसे मिलकर खुशी है और जैसा आपने कहा 5 साल के बाद हमारी ये फॉर्मल मीटिंग हो रही है। हमारा मानना है कि भारत और चीन के संबंधों का महत्व केवल हमारे लोगों के लिए ही नहीं, लेकिन वैश्विक शांति, स्थिरता और प्रगति के लिए भी हमारे संबंध बहुत अहम है। एक्सेलेंसी, सीमा पार पिछले 4 वर्षों में उत्पन्न हुए मुद्दों पर बनी सहमति का हम स्वागत करते हैं। सीमा पर शांति और स्थिरता बनाए रखना हमारी प्राथमिकता रहनी चाहिए। म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट, म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट और म्यूचुअल सेंसिटिविटी हमारे संबंधों का आधार बने रहना चाहिए। इन सभी विषयों पर बात करने का अवसर मिला है। मुझे विश्वास है कि हम खुले मन से बातचीत करेंगे और हमारी चर्चा कंस्ट्रक्टिव होगी। धन्यवाद।
So as you all know, earlier today, in fact just a short while ago, Prime Minister Modi met with President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the 16th Brics Summit. This was their first proper bilateral meeting at delegation level in nearly 5 years, the last one being on the sidelines of the Brics Summit in Brasilia in 2019. So let me just flag some points made by the two leaders during their meeting. This meeting happened, as you are all aware, close on the heels of the disengagement and patrolling agreement and the resolution of issues that had arisen in the India-China border areas in 2020. Naturally, the two leaders welcomed the agreement reached between the two sides through sustained dialogue over the last several weeks in diplomatic as well as military channels. Prime Minister Modi underscored the importance of not allowing differences on boundary-related matters to disturb peace and tranquility on our borders. And in this context, the two leaders noted that the special representatives on the India-China boundary question have a critical role to play in the resolution of the boundary question and for the maintenance of peace and tranquility in the border areas. Accordingly, they instructed the special representatives to meet at an early date and to continue their efforts in this regard. You may recall that Special Representative of India, Mr. Ajit Doval, who is also the National Security Advisor, and the Special Representative of the People's Republic of China, Foreign Minister Wang Yi, also a member of the Politburo, have met on the sidelines of international events, but they have not had a round of talks in the Special Representatives format since December 2019. So following today's meeting, we hope to schedule the next round of the SR's talks at an appropriate date. The two leaders also reviewed the state of bilateral relations from a strategic and long-term perspective. They were of the view that stable bilateral relations between India and China, the two largest nations on earth, will have a positive impact on regional and global peace and prosperity. And both of them stressed that with maturity and wisdom, and by showing mutual respect for each other's sensitivities, interests, concerns, and aspirations, the two countries can have a peaceful, stable and beneficial bilateral relationship. As we have maintained during the last 4 years, the restoration of peace and tranquility in the border areas will create space for returning us towards the path of normalization of our bilateral relations. Officials will now take the next steps to discuss enhancing strategic communication and stabilizing bilateral relations by utilizing the relevant official bilateral dialogue mechanisms, including at the level of our respective foreign ministers. The two leaders also briefly reviewed regional and international developments of mutual concern and interest. They agreed to maintain close communication in this regard. Naturally, they also had a very productive exchange on Brics and the potential for India and China to enhance cooperation on this particular platform. And in closing, Prime Minister Modi also assured India's full support to China's
Right. So this was the entire dialogue. You heard what President Xi Jinping said. You heard what Prime Minister Modi said, and you got a good idea of what the major points which was touched upon by our Foreign Secretary. Oh, actually, is there anything more for me to say? There is. Okay. Now, I thought, one very interesting comment has come out, which says, 335 says, they only understand strength. Look at what they're doing to their neighbors in the South China Sea. I think this is a very important comment which I need to analyze. Why has China come to talk also? Why has China taken a step back? Strength. As India goes strong, China will have to accommodate. And I've always been saying, India is rising, China is declining. On that, I've never had a doubt. So it had to happen. So they will respect us. But having said that, we need to now also take care of a few more issues. And that is what we need to analyze. Okay, so let's get to that. What's that story all about? And yeah, let me get back to my slide and I'll take his comments off. Look, let's look at it this way. This was a chance for them to reset their relationship. Okay, after all, they have met each other for a long time. It's not now. This must be the 10th, 12th time they're meeting after a break of 5 years. Before that, right. Now, this is a chance for reset for India-China relations and a PM equation with Xi Jinping, both. Okay. Now, one thing which we need to understand is the equation which was there before 2020 and the equation now has changed, quite a bit. There's a sea change in India and China, whether it's in the diplomatic way, global tensions, what you're doing, what you're not doing. Right? Now, the significant thing is every time they have met, there's something has happened on the LAC. It's to do with the LAC, whether a prime minister went to Wuhan in 2017, he came to Mahabalipuram, or when he came to Ahmedabad, वो झूला के साथ जब ये हो रहा था देपसांग में, those chaps had come in, same Raki Nala, Jivan Nala, which I showed. So that overhang is there. Will this entire process be transitory? We don't know, because we can talk whatever we want. What's the behavior of people on ground? It's only 2 days. It's just an announcement. The disengagement has not taken place fully. We don't know the modalities of disengagement. I mean, forget the rest of the things. The modalities of the disengagement have to be still worked out. Now, there are a lot of questions in this. When the disengagement happened on Pangong, so North Bank, They went back 9 kilometers, and that became a buffer zone. But whatever was in that buffer zone, all the infrastructure created by Chinese were taken out. Will a similar thing happen here or not? That's just one question I'm asking. Then next thing, what will happen to these buffer zones which were created? Now, all these nitty-gritties have to be worked out. So let's not raise our hopes. Let's do the basic. Like a baby has to take baby steps. That's why I said take small steps with no great expectation. Take baby steps and then see where the whole story goes. Till then, there's no question of talking with China on trade, shade, and all this nonsense. Just keep them out. He's also said, both of them have said, let the special representatives meet. Now, let the special representatives meet on the border, on all other issues, and talk. And then come out with something. So, what they should talk, how they should talk, what all that I can only comment when the fine print comes out. So far, that has not come out. Okay. But we need to realize there's a large trust deficit. We don't trust them completely. Neither will they trust us. I mean, let's put it. The Chinese don't trust anyone. They don't trust themselves. So that problem is there. Now, the important thing which we need to understand in this entire construct which is happening is both India and China and Xi Jinping and Mr. Modi are at critical points of their respective histories. History will record from here. Whatever happens, history will record Mr. Modi, or rather judge Mr. Modi based on that. Same with Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping could have done whatever he wanted in the past 10, 20 years. But what the outcome will be, encompassed in the annals of China-India relationship. To that extent, one needs to keep track of it. And my analysis, I'll keep giving you, and I'll occasionally get people, because I think there's a long way to go. But one thing for sure, you can't go back to the days of pre-2020 or the Jula times. Wo to gaya. It's a new start, and it cannot be business as usual. You have to go step by step. I only hope we have the patience to do that. And I think we will have the patience, because if the government does anything wrong, let me be very candid about it. The internal politics will not let the government survive. I'm telling you, it's not a matter whether Mr. Modi is good, bad, or ugly. That's not the issue. Internal politics of India will not let any government survive if it goes against the wishes of the people. Who are the wishes of the people? It is you and I. So unless we articulate our wishes, how will it be heard? So the public is something they have to take along. Even Xi Jinping is at the same thing. I mean, let me be very clear on this. So that is something which we have to. That is why I say, please come, join, opine. And I'm very sure, by now I'm pretty sure that where the questions you chaps pose and I answer, someone is seeing it. Definitely. Okay. So, I mean, and if people have understood by now, a lot of people would have understood that whatever I have analyzed so far has come right in terms of China. People will say so. And in fact, in the afternoon, I gave a talk with News 9 with Sandeep Punithan. That's what he told. He said, sir, for 3 years back, I remember telling you, I'll put that clip out. It'll come out by tonight, maybe by tomorrow, day after, I'll put that out. You'll understand what I'm talking. And you'll understand when a person of a high reputation like Sandeep Punithan is going to talk about me, then you people will understand why you should come to Gunnershot for these. Other things you go anywhere. I can't talk about BJP, CJP and all that nonsense. Okay. Now, when we deal with this whole story, what do we have to do? You need to ensure transparency in the dealing. You see, what happened in 2020? In 2020, the transparency was not there as to how we dealt with China. Okay? And there was no trust, internal trust in the polity. So that we have to be clear. And whatever the government does, it should keep first it should tell everyone what is the deal, keep the parliament and the public in loop. That's what I said earlier also. Tell the parliament, get the views of the opposition. ये नहीं कि वो दबी चलो, then the government will be in problems. Okay, the next thing which is very important. See, you can have an agreement today with China or anyone, but say especially with the China is on the LAC. But agreements tend to degenerate over a time, and be prepared for the breakdown. After all, we had agreements with China from 2003. You can have all kinds of agreements, on paper at the highest level. But what happens on ground will be dictated by, like Natta Singh on ground, the soldier on ground, how he behaves that day, or that ping ting from the other side. So, if you have strong setups, then we will not go away. But if you don't have strong structures put in, then any mishap at the LAC will lead to a breakdown. And to my understanding, a large part of this breakdown happened because of this degeneration. Okay. And that will happen. It's bound to happen with time. Abhi nahi to 2 saal, nahi to 3 saal. That is why I had said, when will war happen with China? Not immediately. Abhi to everyone will say no war, no war, no war. 2 years, 3 years down the line, China will seek an opportunity and then come. They will deliberately degenerate the situation at that point of time based on some incident. We don't know. Okay. The next thing is, okay, you achieved this, you restored the LAC back, everything. Is there a case for us to start the boundary settlement, delimitation of the boundary, which is important? Start talking of that. Like yesterday, I showed 4 steps. Ultimately, हमें अक्षय चिन्ह लेना है भाई. So we have to start that. Then this economic advisor, he should be sacked as far as I'm concerned. He shouldn't have spoken about allowing FDI in. The moment that has happened, this Chinese ambassador here has gone on overdrive. And there's a lot of reactions from all over the countryside. Why? Because they felt that the government here was divided. I spoke of this in an episode. Is the government divided? The foreign minister speaks something, your finance minister speaks something. Are there 2 groups? That nonsense should stop completely, and nothing like sacking one bureaucrat. Or sab fit ho jayenge. Now, the next important thing which we need to guard against at this point of time is, you allow any dealing with China, this games of information, public opinion, propaganda will start. They'll make their outreach slowly to these communist people in India. बहुत है हमारे पास. They'll start their 3-war strategy, salami slicing. ये सब शुरू हो जाएगा. Dumping of items. Already they're dumping steel into India through Vietnam. All this will recommence if you don't take care of it. And that, like I said, like the border negotiations will degenerate. These today, everyone what we talk will also degenerate. Maybe 1 year down the line, we'll say, "Yaar, ye kya ho raha hai? Government kuch nahi kar raha." That's the talk we'll have. Okay, then you have to realize this is something someone else. I picked it up today in social media. If democratic India succeeds, it's a failure of autocratic China. Then people will start questioning internally. And this is your biggest weapon. You need to use it. People say, how do you get through the firewall of China? You can get through the firewall of China, get through VPN. There are a lot of people of Chinese origin who are sitting in, or from China, who are sitting outside. Businessmen, everyone. Give them. उनके के भी कान भरो भाई. They'll go back and tell. वो उनका भी इंटरनल बीबो शीबो है, वो बताएंगे कि भाई जो हम सोच रहे हैं वो नहीं है, वहां का जीवन अलग है. So we have to start thinking differently to take this relationship forward. Security. You have to focus on security. You don't have a choice. Right? So this is what I thought I'll talk about this relationship, China, India, this little breakthrough we've had. And we'll take it forward as we go along. After all, we're going to have more. And like someone said, I couldn't do Tibet today. Tibet I'll do tomorrow. Let me see how it goes. Then the next question which we have to really consider, are the PLA and the CCP on the same page? The history of China is that there have been always trouble when the PLA and CCP are not been on the same page. And they have not been on the same page for many times. Okay? And I think when Xi Jinping took over as the president, he and the PLA were not on the same page. And that's why some incidents happened which he didn't probably have control over. Today, he has control over all of them. But there are indications that there is a faction within PLA led by the vice chairman Zhang Yuxia, who is manipulating things from behind. There is also a political jitteriness about Xi Jinping, which we have spoken about. So if the PLA and the CCP are not on the same page, expect trouble at the border. Very important. We must understand this. Okay. Now, let me flip to the Brics, because let me address the issue of Brics. Now, there's a view that India is benefiting from Brics quite a bit, and it's a very interesting view. Let me read it. He just says, how India is benefiting from the Brics. If you read it, it is here. He says, India just showed up at the Brics summit alongside Putin and Xi, while China threatens war over Taiwan and Russia continued its war in Ukraine. So there are two protagonists, China and Russia, who are at war. But somehow India is navigating this global storm and benefiting from both sides. We are benefiting from all sides at this point of time. Since 2022, India has been importing cheap Russian oil while maintaining massive military drills. 70% of its hardware comes from China, Russia. That's not correct anymore. Yet India is also deepening ties with the West, especially through partnerships like Quad to counter China in the Indo-Pacific. The kicker, India is also forging ties with Iran, a country the West is desperate to control. We are going to talk about that also. We need Iran. Remember that. Right? They're working with Iran to develop the strategic Chabahar port, gaining access to trade routes and increasing influence in the Middle East. That's IMEC. So you're in IMEC, you're in International North-South Corridor, you're in Quad, you're in Brics, you're all over. That's the point he makes. All the while, Iran remains at odds with the US over nuclear ambitions and tensions with Israel. India is playing both sides expertly, balancing ties with Russia, strengthening partnership with the USA, strategically aligning with key players like Iran. It's using Brics as a platform to boost its global standing while walking the fine line between East and West. How is India doing this and where does it lead next? People are now wondering, India, what is India doing? That is why Brics as a platform is important for India. People have asked me this question, should we exit Brics? No way. This is a view. This is a very potent view. We must understand this. Okay, now let's talk of Brics. We have 9 members, okay, and then 11 to 28, they're waiting. They want to join, okay. 19 members want to join, or 19 countries have officially applied for membership. Let us see by tomorrow how many people are admitted or not, but that's not a great thing for me. That's the we'll look at the larger picture. And then 28 to 51, another nearly 30 countries, or 24 countries, 23 countries, yeah, have expressed interest to join BRICS. Now, what is this sum total of all this? These are all pretty well-to-do countries. Okay, or most of Africa, most of Middle East, most of the global South. What in numbers? It's 45% of the world population, 33% of the land mass, and 28% of the economy. That is the BRICS at this point of time. But if you take the expanded BRICS, it is more, 46% population, GDP is 36%. Right? Exports are 25%, contribution to global growth is 50% plus. It represents 50% of humanity, and soon it is going to be a majority. After this 2024 BRICS summit, day after onwards, this is going to be representing more than half of humanity. So this BRICS is going to become important by the day. And understand again, India is a founding member of BRICS. It is the second largest economy after China, and it has got the maximum population. It's got a strong military. Everything is strong. So the whole story, the two major pillars of BRICS are India and China for many reasons, with Russia and thing. Or if I say RIC, Russia, India, and China are the main pillars of BRICS. So this thing we should never lose sight of. And then in terms of the IMF growth patterns, you see the top 4 countries which are got the best growth rates are BRICS. The rest come later. In terms of top military spenders, many of them are BRICS. So BRICS has got a lot of potential. But is the BRICS the alternate to UN? No. Is it the, does it have a permanent headquarters? No, it doesn't have. So till it has a permanent headquarters, staff and all, it will not assume competition with China, with UN. But can it happen tomorrow? It could through China, if we are not clear about it. Because last summit, China wanted to introduce GDI, GCI, all those initiatives, which we have said no. इस बार तो होगा ही नहीं वो, because बहुत नाजुक है. This thing summit is more for this, as far as China is concerned about normalizing relations with India. It can't say no, I'll put GDI in this draft, final statement. Then India will say get lost. So that's the thing. Okay, and if you look at it, see BRICS and share of GDP, 35% today, and G7 is just 29%. All these comparisons are there all over. You'll find it. Okay. What does BRICS want? The countries want a reformed global governance. Correct an out of balance world. Countries want to boost their own economy, and they want a alternate center of power other than USA, because most of these structures are US dominated, Western dominated. And because the West of this 5 eyes, AIs, OIs, you see the way Canada is behaving. Because we have to depend on many of those structures. That's the mentality they've got. Right. Countries want to have a place where they can meet each other independently. Right. And, emerging economies can't emerge unless USA is taken out of the equation in many places. But then you can't wean yourself off the US dollar. That you forget for quite some time. And, and also we have to understand that BRICS can't be the focal point of, contestation between Russia, China, and West. Many countries don't want that. So there are some positives. There are some issues of concern in BRICS. Okay, they don't, and many of these smaller countries can't join G7, G20. They never invited. They all these guys like Sri Lanka or Pakistan, even for that matter, even Bangladesh, they have to go and stand at the door of IMF and World Bank to say, "Bhai, hame paisa de de." They want non-American initiatives. They want to reform multilateralism, right? And they also very clear that the way to counter weaponization of dollar is not weaponizing UN. They also not clear about. So there is a 50-50 in this whole story. That's where India comes in. And they want a reform of global and economic and financial system. Okay, now let's talk of Russia, China, because this is the next important thing. After that, we should talk. See, this time is the third face-to-face meeting between Xi and Putin. What does they want? They want a fair world order amid chaotic times. Both are saying this. But the way both of them are approaching, this is the danger in Brics. It's an extension of the China-Russia no limits partnership. What does Putin want? This is what he wants. Russia-China cooperation in global affairs, he says, is one of the main stabilizing factors in the world stage. Right? And he wants to ensure a global security and a fair world order through multilateral platforms, and Brics, he says, is one of them. He wants to successfully implement joint projects in energy, industry, technology, and all that, where he gets a level playing field. Today, he's not getting that. He's isolated. Okay. What does Xi want? He says, world is undergoing a major change that has not been seen in a century. International situation is changing and chaotic. So, why hum hai? We want to become the pole of the world. And he says, see again, Russia, China, there's the underlying thing which is we have to understand. Deep friendship between China and India, China and Russia. Sorry, deep friendship between China and Russia for generations will not change. But that's foolish because it's only the one generation that China-Russia friendship has increased, not before that. People will not change. If people will not change, they have a lot of problems within each other. The last point is important. We explore a correct way for neighboring major powers to coexist without forming alliances, engaging in confrontation or targeting third parties. This is directed at India. He's talking of Russia-China relationship, but he's talking of India. Major powers in the neighborhood to coexist without forming alliances, that is with outsiders. This is the import. And he's also taking a dig at other countries in this region. But mostly this is for India. So far, India has not spoken of Pakistan, but we'll leave it at that. When they're talking of a common value, common vision, and all that, but importantly, both are talking of they want to defeat the colonialism or the classic colonialism of US. So it's getting to be more anti-US kind of a thing. Within Brics, there's a group which is anti-US, anti-West, right? And Xi Jinping says it's a coordinated alternative to Western hegemony in an uncertain age. And he says Brics can organize all these countries and confront a hostile West and give a stable platform for world peace. So that is all some kind of nonsense. But the fact is, Russia-China trade has been hampered. Why? It's been hampered because of sanctions by US. Because Russia doesn't have the international payment system. And China doesn't want to accept rubles. They still want dollars. There's a problem there also. Russia will remain a major crude oil source for China. Chinese exports to Russia have soared, incidentally. All those Western businesses which exited China, that space has been, which exited Russia, that space has been taken by China. And China supplies warlike parts to Russia. That's established now. Finally, the China-Russia partnership wants to make a proper anti-Western alternative. anti-US alternative through BRICS and SCO. This is something India has to be careful of. I'll talk of it. There is this angle, Iran, Russia, China, and this. They're completely in this. Iran is part of the deal, and Iran is now a member of BRICS. Completely anti-Western and anti-US. It is also anti-Ukraine and anti-Israel. In fact, all these three countries. Okay. And they are main actors in global tensions. Iran with Israel, China in the South China Sea, and Russia in Ukraine. All three are fighting. Remember this. And they are in league with each other. So there's a danger in this whole story. Now, Russia till now was de-isolated, or rather isolated from international. Putin still can't go out of the country. Okay. But this BRICS platform has made him a player. He is now, you see, the way media is plastering Putin all over, as if he's a global statesman and is going to chalao the world through BRICS. Now, very clearly, because of his ties with India and China, he's been able to get through the past 3 years. And now Russia, to a large extent, more than China, is the one which is presenting itself as an alternative, a global alternative, an integrator. Remember, Russia has got very good links in Africa, because these were countries which imported a lot of USSR and Russian equipment, still do. So it's got a lot of say. China might not have that say. Russia has that equity in Africa. Russia has equity even in Latin America. There's also Eastern Europe. Now it's become a very dynamic member, one of the 3 pillars of BRICS. So it feels it has the capacity to shape the global order. So everyone has a game in BRICS. That's the point. And trying to bring out various aspects of this game. Okay. Now there is this angle of Iran, Russia, and India. International North-South corridor. Iran wants it, we want it, Russia wants it. So this is a game which I showed in that tweet which the chap spoke. So while we don't support Iran for being against Israel, but we have our own thing, we have our own stake in Iran. The Chabahar port we have invested. So you can't let go of Iran. You need to develop your equities with Iran. And that's BRICS will help us do that. Then there's the issue of Brazil and India. Now, BRICS, while it can help create a multipolar world, and when US influence is waning and Western influence is declining, all that is fine. But Brazil and India don't want to get away from the Western world completely. They're not interested in an alternate system. India is not. India doesn't want an alternate system where Russia and China dominate it. Or you're put in a corner where you have to accept their dominance. We don't want that. So you still need the Western system. And we are very clear, we don't want an alternate mechanism to SWIFT. Because a lot of our foreign remittance comes through SWIFT. A lot of our dealing is still with the West, Middle East, Israel, Africa. And that is all through SWIFT. We don't want UNization. Let's be very clear, we don't want UNization. Yeah, some local currency settlement for trade and all will happen. Some UPI thing is okay. And if people want to come to our platform for UPI, we welcome. We will welcome them. But we don't want to become a part of a platform where we have to depend on the UN. See, all these subtexts are going on. While we focus on that story of India and China, all these are part of the salami slicing which China is doing from other angles. So we have to understand this. I showed this yesterday. India has to play a balancing hand between Russia, China, and USA. I'm not going to go over this slide again, but you can have a look at it. All these three players have their interests. So we should have our interests. Okay. We need to look at our interests. I'm very clear about it. Trust no one. Least to be trusted is China. Next, USA. Maybe you can trust Russia to some extent because they've stood by us, we've stood by them. There is some chemistry there. One of my last points still, don't get taken by Chinese charm. They're going to come. They're going to lick your feet. I have no doubt about it. We need to build our own economic, military, and diplomatic strength. I am repeating this. And, India is the bridge between these worlds. How do we play this bridge is important. You have strategic partnerships with the US, France, Israel, South Korea, and Japan. Those partnerships are very valuable to us. You can't let go of them. You're part of the Quad and the Indo-Pacific. Again, something very valuable. If you want to control Indian Ocean region, you need USA, you need Britain, you need France. Without that, you can't do. And you need to control it. We have to be the anchor. I did this 2 episodes, one on Diego-Garcia and one on Indian Ocean. Have a look at it. We need a UN-led world order. Why? We want to become a permanent member of the UN Security Council. We want reforms of the UN system, not an alternative to that. So how do you manage China and Russia, who are looking at an alternative to the UN system, is a challenge. And that challenge will run parallel to our border challenge. I mean, let's not have any doubts about it. Whatever Russia is doing to help us mend fences with China, it has got its own angle. Let's be very clear about that also. On the other hand, you want to be an important member of Brics. If you're not an important member of Brics, with Brazil in support, your agenda will be hijacked completely. A new agenda will come in. Brics and SEO, you need to keep your foot in. You need to hedge. And then we have equations with Russia, Iran, Middle East, and Africa, which are more leaning towards this side. Africa is completely leaning towards BRICS. And you have a trust relationship with them. So you have to handle them. And now, let me say something. If you go back to the beginning of our video and here again, now after all I've spoken, hear what our Prime Minister and Xi Jinping have spoken. Okay, you will get to understand that they've spoken of this only. They've spoken of global, governance in some manner. They've spoken of global security, shared vision, people, all that. You see that again. This is exactly what they've spoken. Right? So all these issues are important for us. The BRICS is a very important platform, and the BRICS has helped to a large extent making India and China talk. It has helped us push China back. And it's no mean achievement. I'll repeat it. In recent history, take say 2000 to now, 24 years, 25 years, which country has pushed China back? India. Did we do it once? No. We pushed them back in Doklam. We pushed them back in 2020 in Kailash Range. We pushed them back in north bank of Pangong Tso when they went back 9 kilometers after breaking their own defenses. Now you're pushing them back to the petroleum point. We'll see the fine print, but we have to be proud. Even if you take 10 steps ahead, it's an achievement. You might not get what you wanted, but even if you take little, it is an achievement. You've done that. Then you foiled them in Yangtze. Remember, October 22. I still remember that. You gave them a good spanking at Yangtze and threw them out. And then you've broken the string of pearls. We have done a lot, but there's more to do. Right? That's what I wanted to say. And we need to be confident as a nation that we can. China has not taken one step back in South China Sea. In fact, in 2008, 9, 10, around that time, it built those islands despite the fact that USA was there. We didn't allow them to do. Our challenges are they'll not trouble us. They'll trouble Bhutan. They'll trouble Nepal. They've already started doing that. They will appear in Bangladesh. And the opportunity to push them back is in Tibet. That's why I wanted to do Tibet with you people. But I'm not getting the time. Tomorrow maybe I'll do it. But incidentally, there's a situation developing in Bangladesh that president is almost going to be sacked unceremoniously, or what they're going to do something funny. Bangladesh, maybe I'll have to do Bangladesh tomorrow. Okay. That crisis in Bangladesh is something which affects us. We should understand it. So let me see if I can do two or do one in the morning and one in the evening, but that I'll take a call tomorrow. In any case, Tibet is not going to run away, so I might as well do Bangladesh and then I'll do Tibet the next day. Right? And then I want all of you to understand what China, the internal problems of China. Very new things are coming up. The stimulus be damned. Okay, which I'll talk of. Very, very interesting things. China is so pessimistic about itself, you cannot imagine. Okay, with this, I think I've finished for the day. I'll take your questions and I'll start at the top. Okay, first, Anil Gadi becomes a YouTube member. Welcome. He's also IIT Madras alumni and proud to have you here. And Joe Santo also welcome. Thanks a lot. Yeah, let me start with Maulana's question. Are we truly getting closer to China, or is it just a stunt to send a message? No, it's not. We're not getting closer to China, but a message is going to US. Both. We're not going to get closer to China. Let's be very clear about it. We are far away from China still. Even they are very jittery about the whole affair. I mean, like someone said, why is he looking so morose? Xi Jinping. He won't be happy with whatever happened in the past 1 week. Yeah, following recent bilateral developments between India and China, could we expect a similar protest? Similar to the... No, I don't think so. Nothing will happen. Are we a confused power even as we rapidly progress towards becoming a strong nation? We are. And that's because we don't have confidence. Our politicians don't understand these things. We don't have educated politicians. We don't have merit in our politics. See, you might not like the Chinese system, but those who get selected into the Chinese Communist Party is based on merit. And you go up the Chinese Communist Party ladder only through merit, good merit. Not in our case. So there's a problem with us, that fundamental problem. There's a disconnect between our government, our polity, and our judiciary and our armed forces. A lot of disjointed thing, like in a good democracy. We're a noisy democracy. Then we have a lot of internal problems. But overall, we are strong. Don't worry. Yeah, given the present conduct of Chinese, it looks like RIC is equal to Russia, Iran, China. It is predicated that China vacate Tibet and Xinjiang to create a meeting ground with Bharat. Your views? RIC is, in a conventional sense, it's still Russia, India, and China. But you're right. The effort is more towards Russia, India, Iran, China. But how much that will succeed, we don't know. Now, vacating Tibet and Xinjiang, I'll discuss this. There is a theory. This is my theory. Whether it will get into practice or not, time will tell. But I'm fairly confident of that. We'll discuss with it. Yeah, why does he look so unhappy compared to Modi? Because he has to explain. There are already questions in Weibo in China. I have not been able to access them. I'll get asked someone to give it as to why are they vacating or going back on the LSE. There's pressure internally, right? So that's the thing. The Russian role in it, as many experts and Chinese are discussing, that Russia played a very they have made bridges. Let's not have any doubts about it. And Putin is okay with Xi Jinping and he's okay with Modi. So something has happened. Let's not underplay that role or wish away that role. Okay. Next question. Yes, you've been planning to do a video on Tibet for the past week, but so many things are happening. It looks like China doesn't want you to go live on Tibet. No, but we'll go. But there's no hurry. As far as Tibet is concerned, that is ready. I know what I'm going to talk. I know what are the issues and what. We'll talk of it. Eventually, we'll get there. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Like you repeatedly state, one cannot trust China, and this from a person who is intimately connected. Any country which can prevent family from connecting is criminal and corrupt. I agree with you 100%. There's no doubt. It's not just that China respects strength; it is all other powerful countries. If India becomes powerful enough, even USA will turn on us, but they will only saber rattle like they do to China. Yes, that will happen. We need to be aware of the fact that you are going to be tested. The way I look at it, whatever is happening with Canada is a test case as to how we behave, how we manipulate. I wouldn't say how you handle this situation. Okay. Taiwan has more territorial claim than PRC what is permanent solution? Let's see. That's a bugger's model which is going on out there, because one of the reasons why I suspect China has yielded here is because then it can focus on that side, because there it's out of control. And I've been saying that, look, he can't sustain all sides. I said this long back. I've been saying in every thing that he can't go to Philippines, he can't go to Taiwan, he can't handle Korea, and then he can't handle India also. So he's given way here. Like I said, I think I'll have to do the security issues of China from a Chinese point of view. What do they have? Understand their geography, and then we'll talk of it. Maybe someday I'll sit and explain to you the Chinese geography and the climate change which it is going through and the problems it's going to have. If you appreciate that, you'll understand what is happening is quite logical. Yeah, did the USA and West play their cards immaturely? Only Russia and China seem to have gained both US and West, and we are seeming to be missing the plot as on date. How will USA respond to a likely, weakening or replaceable dollar on India? It's like let me put, I get the drift. I think USA and the West are confused. And I see more confusion coming whether Trump becomes a president or Kamala Harris becomes a president. They are a divided society at this point of time. They are pretty immature. And they are probably living in a thing, hum to hai, no one, you can't go to anyone else. Things like Brics will shake them up and get them to reality check. They'll come back to us. I think we have gained quite a bit from everyone. Like that first chap who I read out that viewpoint. We have played our cards well, and this is something I said this in 2020. 2021 or so. I said there is a centrality of India which is developing, and that is developed. Now it is pakka. Maybe I'll show that slide one day and that presentation one day. Okay. USA, China. In fact, Russia has not missed a trick. China has missed 2-3 tricks. Right, and that's where China is in a problem. China, the whole case is premature. Attempt at scaling Mount Everest. So it ran out of oxygen. And before it could go, it is in a decline. See, the main problem with China is people. People are vanishing. And I'll talk of it down the line when I talk of population. Okay. Manish Parikh, no, new. So USA will use everything in their power to break China like they broke up Russia. It's a matter of time, maybe within a couple of years to come. It will not be in a couple of years, you can't, and I think you can't break China up. It's history. Historically, you can't break China up. China, throughout its problematic periods, throughout its history, has remained a singular entity. It is not like India, which is full of small kings and queens. Ultimately, there was always a big emperor in China, a king or an emperor. He might have come from outside. He might have been a Mughal like Genghis Khan or Kublai Khan. Okay. But there was a central authority in China, always. So that will not go away. Today, the central authority is CCP. It will go. That might go. Yeah, I'll agree with you. But something will replace it. You have to understand China, and India might break faster. I mean, it won't anymore. India has got better chances of breaking than China because our fracture lines or fault lines are more. Something like Pakistan. What is happening in Pakistan, the fault lines are quite a bit in Pakistan. That's what was imagined in that India will also break up in the 70s, 80s. But we broke Pakistan and survived. Now we can't. But on a relative scale, I think China is more homogeneous. Is BRICS currency now a reality based on this meeting? No. It will not be a thing. And that, I think, somewhere I saw a statement of, I think one of our spokespersons saying, no, we didn't have an idea of this. We'll see. Right? So it's not going to, BRICS currency will not come. It's not possible, actually. Okay. Sham Jandiala. While the EA might have spoken about need for FDI, Chinese investments are hopelessly tangled in ED cases, visa restrictions. Do you really visualize China trusting us? No, they don't. They've already put it out. There is a headline which came out in South China Morning Post about 1 month back, which other day Rajiv Narayan also spoke about. They have given instructions to their companies not to trust, not to invest in India and Turkey. So it's not as if that tomorrow you open the door, Chinese investment will come in. It will not. And we also have to be clear that we have to put a lot of checks and balances if their investment does come in. And you have to be very clear what will be the outcomes. So that we'll see. Maybe consider to remove all civilians from defense. Oh, we'll talk of this later, Akash. Who has the economic benefit to support the BRICS currency? No one. No one. Satyanarayan. RIC nations are all harassed by the US and West. Together they can form a formidable. Bataoge to Katoge is valid for RFCs too. China must understand this to become an effective bloc. Your views? I don't agree with you for the simple reason. If you allow China to become a bloc, you're going to have a Sinocentric world order. Then you're giving him the platform to do what he wants. That is what we have to hold him back. Okay? We cannot let them go. And we cannot, the BRICS currency or a BRICS financial system, we don't have feasibility. Or interconnections of Brazil and India with the West are far too many. And South Africa also. South Africa is the lame duck in this whole story. But there are problems in this. Yeah, how much can we trust China or US? I told you, not much. Yeah, we should boost strategic capability before the good times pass. I agree with you completely. That's what I've been talking of. Value pilgrim after a long time. Are the Chinese investing heavily in Adani? Might. I don't know. Then Modi will hug Xi Jinping. I don't know. So honestly, I don't know. So I'll not. Before WW2, World War II, there was a multipolar world existed like UK, Germany, US, etc. What will be the state of us? US in the new multipolar world order? Their influence, will their influence? No, it will not decline. They will be the tallest pole. This is a multipolar order. It will be a multilateral order, and US will be the tallest pole for a long time because China is declining. It will never catch. So there's no one else who can get to that level, and so they'll control. They will influence. You think their influence will decline? No. How can their influence decline? You and I are speaking through a US channel. After all, StreamYard is not based here. I use StreamYard. It is based in Wilmington, USA. And then you seeing it on some mobile or some platform, Google, Android, all based in USA. So how will their influence go? Unless you have alternate systems. Brics is a good hedge, but what are the terminal inevitable realities deficiency it suffers from? One is both China and Russia want to be the big brother and trust. Look, the contradictions of Brics, that's what I said, no? See how many angles are there in Brics. एक इंडिया रशिया है, एक इंडिया चाइना है, रशिया चाइना है, ईरान है बीच में. You're getting all these. Then the new members who come in, they have their problems. After all, there's Iran, Saudi, and UAE. That problem has not yet come. It will come tomorrow. So far, that problem has not come to the fore. So there are a lot of angles. Don't be this thing, and this is not a permanent structure. You have stated that BRICS grouping want a reformed global financial and trade order. Is it not an irony that China is the bully that has stopped most reforms in favor of India? I agree with you completely, right? And I agree with you. Ultimately, we will not be left in the cold. Will we not be left in the cold with increasing isolation from a sulking West? This will be not. See, as things change and as India becomes a pivotal power or it becomes a bridge power, everyone has to start mending their ways to the new reality. Whatever the reality is, so have we. We need to have structures to handle this. Okay. So what's wrong? Like we can learn a lot from Switzerland. We can learn a lot from Qatar. Okay, both of them have existed with everyone around who are against them. So we have to learn a lot of those ideas. Okay. Congratulations on 40,000 subscribers. Have I got them already? I don't know. I didn't see it. When I started the program, they were not there. Yeah, today I have. Yeah, that's great. That is it. I have 40,001 subscriber at this point of time. But thanks a lot for all of you. And I would like more to join in, right, to make this go. It's taken me 2 years, nearly 2 years to get this. I hope things improve. Yeah. Ask while Russia, Putin, and China, Xi Jinping basically behave on principle of might is right and act as warrior leaders and nations. Modi said, Bharat युद्ध नहीं बुद्धि की धरती है. So how is RSA? RSA is not possible. Let's be very clear. Russia, Iran, China, that RSA is possible, not India के साथ. Gana shot, sir, will this BRICS, especially RICs, be valuable in the long run? After all, China and India have a lot of issues. RIC will not be valuable. RIC will not be valuable. We should not get into it. We should look at the larger BRICS. And a lot of these countries which will now join BRICS have trust in us. The biggest weapon we have to handle is trust. The quality we have is people trust us. Except China and Pakistan, everyone trusts us. Incidentally, North Korea trusts us. Do you know that? I hope you chaps know. They trust us. So we should use that trust. Our biggest factor we have going is trust. Yeah, Arunachal, we need all who need us, not who think that it is only our need. Yeah, I agree with you. That's the point. The fundamental thing is trust. Okay. Yeah, thanks a lot. I would require, a lot of people are congratulating on this 40,000, but that's not my great aim. I want more to come. But at this point of time, it's a great thing to happen. I would request more to join in, because I'm sure you'll agree with me that the quality of analysis on this channel is far better than wherever you go, at least in India. Outsiders are different. They have their own analysis and all that. Right. So I have done for the day. So tomorrow, let me see. Yeah. This is an interesting question. Let me get this. Do you think our economic advisor could be compromised? Difficult to answer. I'll trust my system, and I will say he cannot be compromised, but probably he's been fooled. Let's put it that way. Yeah, brilliant talk and presentation. Thanks a lot for keeping us informed. Then more than informed than what's available on main media is all rot. Main media is all big talk. Same with Santos. Salute, Sergey. Excellent presentation. Thank you. Yeah, so tomorrow, most probably, I will, Srinivas. Thanks a lot for all your tweets which you've given me, Srinivas. Please go ahead with more. And right, in the entire tenure of Namu as PM, not one officer issued any statement on policy except the economic advisor. Why now this sentence? That's $1 million question. It might be planted. He might be the fall guy for all this, for all you know. Right? As let me take Arunachal's question. As against currency, can there be a new UN currency to stop USA endlessly printing dollars? No, UN is a divided thing. Unless you reform UN, it will not happen. You know, Euro is also in danger at this point of time. A lot of countries are trading more in their own currencies than Euro. Euro also has problems, but the Euro system is developed over the past 25 years in such a strong manner that it can't break. Because if it breaks, everyone will get affected. No, this thing. But and US will not allow it to happen. US will not accept any other thing. So why will it? So that's the thing. Yeah. Oh, thanks a lot. So one more member I've got. Let me show. Yeah. Yeah, MOD 335 has become a YouTube member. Thanks a lot. Yeah, Bangladesh doesn't trust India. Look, you have to trust yourself. Okay, you sack the prime minister, you sack the president, you want to sack everything. And through the street, there's anarchy in Bangladesh, and that's the subject tomorrow I'm going to talk of, anarchy in Bangladesh. Okay, so we'll talk of it. Then we can't afford that kind of anarchy in Bangladesh. But we'll talk of it. We can do very little. Yeah, what would be your matured overall statement of the de-escalation process between Bharat and China? Should we be happy to celebrate? Is it wait and watch, trust but verify? I'll wait. I'll celebrate to the extent what I told you, that we are the only country that who pushed China back. So that confidence will go along. And but we'll wait. And and this is an ongoing thing. There's no final thing. Okay. So Jack Sparrow has come. I don't want to disappoint you, chaps. As an Indian living in USA, the general sentiment is in the investment community is trust towards India. I agree with you. And this is a lot of people who are in the investment community speak to me about it. But the recent India-Canada spat and bonhomie with Putin is putting up a lot of questions. They have to come to terms with it. If Canada picks up a fight with us and we go to Putin, you can't blame India. And so be it, things will happen. But all these chaps who want to invest, where will they go? Next question is, do they have anything? They can't go to China. They'll not go to Russia. Whom will they go to invest in? Who will take their investment for returns? Which is the best performing stock market today? Which has got the best growth? That's why I showed you the thing on growth. The global growth for the next 5-10 years is going to be India. Highest rate of growth. So they have to come. They have to come adjust to a new reality. And not keep, rewarding bad behavior of states like Canada. Cryptocurrency and UPI work on the same blockchain, but we know the difference. Yeah, we do. UPI is a more trusted system. It's backed by the government, and a lot of countries are taking it on. Okay. So Akash has a comment. Let me read it out. It was Bangladesh where Muslim League was founded, and their change of attitude in Pakistan and its POP. Do you understand? Do you think Bangladesh were extremists from the beginning? And it is a cycle of history we are witnessing now. Possible. Let's ask this. We ask this question tomorrow. Ask this question tomorrow. Okay. In the global geopolitics, why USA chose Panun to irritate Bharat? Panun is their asset, like that Headley was. Let's be very clear. I have no doubt about it. He's a CIA asset. They'll not let him go. They'll not, and they will use some stick to beat us. You should be strong enough to handle the whole thing. That's about all. That's what it is. Chalo. That's it. So with this, I'll pack up for tonight. So tomorrow evening, depending on how things go, my aim is to do Bangladesh and Tibet if I can. I don't think, but at least one I'll do. And if this goes further, we'll see where it goes. Okay. Till then, good evening and Jai Hind to all of you.